Welcome, everyone, to Freedom Church of the Poor. It's so good to be here together this 27th day of October. So much going on in the world, in this country, in our lives. Grateful to have this time at the Freedom Church of the Poor, a movement church, a spiritual home for movement leaders, a place where we can come and be together in these hard times to lift each other up and lift up the struggle and learn and continue fighting another day. This week is a very special week to me and to a lot of folks.
This meeting is being recorded.
Holiday of Diwali, and we have invited some leaders from our movement that are Hindu brothers and sisters that will, in the tradition of Freedom Church of the Poor, be reading and singing and understanding that holiday and that tradition out of the context of our struggle, the struggle of the poor and dispossessed. And so happy to have those leaders with us and to have them bring in this really beautiful and ancient tradition tonight. So I want to get to that. Before we get going, as always, want to make sure to ground us in the mission. For those who don't and those who do know, it's important to remind everyone what we're all about here. So let me go ahead and read this. The Freedom Church of the Poor is a spiritual and political home for movement leaders. We believe in the fundamental dignity and value of all life and in a world of abundance where all can thrive. We gather as a community of faith to support and care for each other. We commit to realizing the abundant world God promises by identifying, developing, and uniting leaders who will build a movement to end poverty led by the poor. In this community and through our commitment to this struggle, we also seek to rediscover and share a vision and practice of religion that is rooted in love, truth, and justice. Got those backwards. And to ground us in our spiritual, in the spirit tonight, Anu Yadav is going to share a song. Anu was very excited to be part of this service, but couldn't be here in person. So yesterday sent these videos to us. So she's here in spirit, but not live, I guess. And she wanted me to relay that the reason she couldn't be here is actually because she and her partner are on the search for housing and housing that doesn't have mold in it. And so the struggle for them and housing and for so many others is very real. Yeah, a part of what we wanted to bring in here tonight is to lift up that reality for Anu and to share our prayers and strength with her as they continue to find housing, and so many others do. But she offered this song to start us with, and I'm going to go ahead and play that.
In the wound is the medicine. When we face the pain with tenderness, we will heal what needs to heal for a life free of fear. So take my hand, we are enough, as we build a world with love, as we build a world with love. In these dark times, we must stay together, organize together, reach past our isolation and break down these walls of oppression to end this unimaginable suffering. We must build a world that is truly bathed in the divine love and divine light of God. It is this light that is at the heart of Diwali, the triumph of good over evil, illuminating a true path of liberation. We are one human family. Any one's pain is all of our pain. We build our collective power. We end our oppression. And that is when we truly heal.
Oh, thank you. A powerful voice and powerful spirit there from Anu. And now I'd like to introduce and pass it over to Shally Gupta Barnes, who folks may know as the policy director here at the Cairo Center and also of the Poor People's Campaign, and also happens to be my wife. Very happy to have you here tonight, Shally, and to offer a little bit of framing.
Thank you. I always love celebrating Diwali in this community because it offers me a chance also to revisit some of the themes and the stories and the prayers that I grew up with, but as part of a movement to end poverty, as a part of a movement for liberation. And as my my Hindu sister Anu shared, these are very dark and unsettled times. All of the injustices that we have known are heightened and magnified. 140 million people in this country are poor or one emergency away from financial ruin, and billions more around the world are facing deep economic insecurity amidst accelerated climate disaster, failing infrastructure, and the willful neglect of politicians. Our political system is unwilling or unable to step up to the demands that people are making all over the world for peace, for freedom, for health, for housing, for care, rather than violence. And yet all we're getting is more violence and war and genocide. And so as we begin to enter the season of Diwali. This year, it actually falls on October 31st and November 1st, so overlapping with a lot of other traditions, including remembering the Day of the Dead. I think through this, through all of this violence around us, we have to remember, we have to believe in something better, not only because we deserve better, but because we know it's possible. We don't live in a time of poverty. We actually live in a time of abundance alongside deep poverty. And there are good people every day making sure, doing our very best to make sure that those around us have what we need, whether that's through mutual aid and disaster relief in Western North Carolina, or community dinners in Nelsonville, Ohio, or in rural counties, schools and communities coming together to make sure that folks who don't have access to social welfare programs have what they need, or in Jackson Heights or Queens, making sure that people have health and housing and everything in language. Anywhere where there is a gap, where our needs aren't being met by these failing systems, we also have people tirelessly working to fill those gaps. So we know it's possible, right? And if we can do it, if we can provide for ourselves, and certainly we can organize ourselves, the many, many millions, and in fact, billions of us who are doing this every day to push our societies and governments and politics in this direction. Not that it will be easy, not that it won't come without conflict or difficulty, but surely it's possible if we make it so. So this is the spirit in which I would like us to gather today, the spirit of possibility, the spirit of hope and renewal and light, for Diwali. And as Adam mentioned, this is a celebration honored by Hindus all around the world. It's a new year, and it's celebrated in many different ways. It's often known as the Festival of Light. I have a candle here. We have the lights on in our homes. We clean our homes. Usually, partially that's because this comes after the monsoon season. So after you clean out everything, you whitewash the walls, you make sure everything is, you put the candles on to make sure the mosquitoes don't return. But there are also all these stories that are associated with this time of year, this renewal, this rebirth, and it's when people who are exiled from their communities return, and the community celebrates. They were wrongfully exiled, they were wrongfully kicked out, and when they're welcomed back, there is a celebration filled with light and joy and hope and possibility. In my tradition, we celebrate and honor the goddess Lakshmi, who is born out of this epic battle between the gods and demons, out of this massive churning of the ocean that threatens the whole of humanity. And when she appears, she comes out of this lotus flower, which blooms in muddy, swampy waters to create a world of abundance. Now, it's interesting, she's often portrayed as the goddess of wealth, and she's kind of been, I think, minimized to only thinking about financial wealth. Diwali is often considered a celebration of wealth and money, but really she represents far more than that. Given how she appears and what she holds in her hands, what she's talking about really is abundance of love, abundance of health, abundance of life, abundance of resources for us all, for our liberation. And as we kind of continue in our service, I have to also say that the history of Diwali and of this faith tradition has been troubled by the problematic role of caste that has fostered hate and division in our society, used to oppress millions and millions of people as outcasts, as beneath the rest, to the extent that many have abandoned this faith. They become Buddhist or Muslim or have abandoned faith altogether. And today, Hinduism is weaponized by powerful people to sow division and isolate Muslim populations to justify systemic marginalization and exclusion and oppression. These influences are present among the diaspora here in the United States as well, with powerful institutions funded to propagate these hateful politics of Hindu nationalism. And while we can't fix all of that here in this hour of service that we have together in Freedom Church, we can't undo all those generations, of violence. But now that we know about them, we know how important it is to reclaim and to rebuild a liberatory Hindu tradition that counters that hate and fear, and that reimagines our traditions and stories and prayers for our times. In fact, one of the scriptures that I was raised with, the Gita, has a passage where Krishna, who's a god, says that he's born in every age, reborn in every age to right the wrongs of that era, to make sure that the world is on the path of righteousness once again. Sounds a lot like a Kairos time to me, sounds a lot like the times we're in. So this Diwali, and until the world is set right again, we can commit ourselves to creating and building this liberatory Hinduism, where if we have been exiled or marginalized or pushed out of wherever we actually belong, we can return. We can return to our homes, we can return to a place where we are welcome and beloved and free and thriving in the world of abundance that has been created for us all. So I will give it back to you, Adam, because I believe we have some more words from Anu and others, but thank you for those few minutes.
Thank you, Shelley. That was so helpful. And just feeling so many similarities to the way religion is used in this country and abused. But yeah, so glad that you and other leaders in our movement are helping to reclaim that. And one of those folks is Anu Yadav, who opened us up with a song. She's, if folks don't know, obviously she's a singer and an artist and a playwright and an organizer, and she's currently living out in California, and is connected to the Poor People's Campaign out there and a lot of other things. But she's offering a reflection on a Hindu scripture tonight, and I will let her share more about that.
दुर्गे स्मृता हरसि भीतिमशेष जन्तो स्वस्ति धन्या सर्वोपकार करणाय सदार्थ चित्ता O reliever of difficulties, remembering you, the fear of all living beings is dispelled. When remembered by those individuals in the harmony of spiritual growth, you increase their welfare and intelligence. Who is like you, O dispeller of poverty, pain, and fear, whose sympathetic demeanor always extends compassionate assistance to everyone? This is a verse from chapter 4 of the Devi Mahatmyam, a Hindu text which translates as the glory of the goddess. It's in praise of Durga, the warrior goddess who fights on the side of the oppressed. She is the dispeller of pain, poverty, and fear. She is the reliever of difficulties. Diwali is often associated with Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth. And according to some traditions, she is also a form of Durga. In the Devi Mahatmyam, Durga's powers manifest as the powers of all the gods combined. They gift her with garlands, weapons, armor, and other offerings before her battle with the demon known as Mahishasura, who has ruled and vanquished the earth for 100 years, whom even the gods tremble in fear of. They know that only Durga or Durga Ma can save the planet and all life from destruction. And throughout her battle, as it is displayed within the Devi Mahatmyam, the demon changes shape, trying different tactics, raining down weapons, unleashing millions of demon soldiers at every turn, over and over again, to try to defeat her, which he never does. Ultimately, she ends his reign of terror, and the gods rejoice. This, to me, is revolutionary text. It is embedded in the words, Durga, the dispeller of poverty, pain, and fear, who extends compassionate assistance to everyone. In chapter 11, it says she is the cause of liberation in this world. She destroys all infirmities, and that those who take refuge in you, speaking of Durga, invariably become a refuge to others. You protect the universe, it says, the soul of the universe. You support the universe. Those who bow to you with devotion become the refuge of the universe. Our movement is this refuge. As it grows in power, it grows closer and closer to the true meaning of Durga's name herself, invincible. Durga is our movement, the collective power of a poor people's movement, and the demon, Mahishasura, represents empire. The structural oppressions we must defeat for all to truly rejoice like the gods. When I was a girl, we would gather as Hindus in the basement of Presbyterian churches to celebrate Diwali. Aunties ran the show, organizing dance, music, song, food, everything. My mom remembers making hundreds of gulab jamuns, these sweets, kind of like donut holes, but not really, better than donut holes. And she would make these by hand in this assembly line of aunties. Diwali was a time to manifest in our tiny community in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, what it meant for everyone to be cherished, for everyone to be welcomed, for everyone to be fed. These memories of love, of sharing what we have, it's encoded in my heart and in my mind, of being together, truly together, as a revolutionary, liberatory act. This to me is the heart of Diwali. It is the spirit of Diwali. It is only by being this much together, organizing together to demand our needs, to be in true community as one human family, we become like Durga, invincible, unstoppable in defeating poverty, pain, and fear, in ending war and genocide, climate change, towards a world where all people, all of life, the planet herself, is truly cherished, welcomed, can flourish. with the freedom, happiness, and divine light and love of God.
Oh man, that's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much. Anu. The idea of the movement embodying Durga, embodying the God through our struggle to end poverty, our struggle to get in right relationship with each other and the land. That's just beautiful. And that through that we become invincible. That's just, yeah, that's too much. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Reverend Abi is also with us tonight, again in spirit. He was called me about 10 minutes before this call and has come down with something. So sending him prayers of rest and healing, but he was able to record his thoughts before but he went in to take a rest. So we have those, and I'm going to share that with us tonight. Reverend Abi Janamanchi, folks may know, he's a longtime friend of the movement, is the senior minister at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, also a leader with Hindus for Human Rights, and part of the Poor People's Campaign in Washington, D.C. So really happy to have Abi with us and his thoughts here. So I'll pass it over to him. Oops. Here's Abi.
Diwali, the festival of lights, offers a powerful reminder of how even the smallest flame can bring radiance and clarity. The word Diwali or Deepavali itself means a row or arrangement of lights, celebrated on the longest night of the season, when the lights are more than mere physical illumination. They symbolize the divine light within and around us. In the Hindu tradition, light represents truth and the divine. As the Bhagavad Gita teaches, God is the light of all lights, the source of all existence. And in the Katha Upanishad, it is said that everything shines because of this eternal light. On Diwali, homes are cleaned and decorated, and tiny oil lamps are placed in significant places, often at the threshold, the space where the inside meets the outside. This simple act of lighting a lamp on the threshold holds deep meaning, reminding us that our spiritual lives are not meant to be lived in isolation, but to radiate outward, brightening the world around us. There is a temptation, though, a temptation to privatize our spiritual awakening, to believe that peace is found by retreating inward, ignoring the struggles outside. But the light at the threshold tells a different story. It reminds us that true spiritual awakening must radiate outward, illuminating the path of compassion, justice, and liberation in the world. The message of Diwali parallels beautifully with the Sikh celebration of Bandi Chor Divas, the Day of Liberation. On this day, Sikhs commemorate Guru Har Gobind Singh Ji's release from unjust imprisonment by a Mughal emperor. Yet his liberation was not for himself alone. Har Gobind Singh refused to leave the prison until 52 other innocent kings who were imprisoned with him were also freed. This selfless act reminds us that true liberation and joy come from freeing not just ourselves, but others as well. Guru Har Gobind's choice echoes the message of Diwali's light. Our spiritual freedom must extend beyond ourselves and uplift those around us. Both Diwali and Bandi Chor Divas call us to live for Loka Sangraha, the greater good of all beings. In Hinduism, Loka Sangraha means that our well-being is inseparable with that of others. And the Sikh concept of Ik Onkar reminds us of the oneness of all creation. And Chardi Kala, the spirit of relentless optimism, calls us to rise above hardship and be in service of a life much larger than our own. Guru Har Gobind Singh Ji's insistence on the freedom of his fellow prisoners embodies the spirit of unity and courage, reminding us that true leadership arises from solidarity with all. The light of Diwali and the liberation of Bandi Chor Divas aren't just stories from history or mythology. They remind us that the light we cultivate within must shine out into the world, meeting and transforming the shadows of oppression, ignorance, occupation, and suffering. This is a call to embody the principles of kindness, courage, and empathy in all that we do, supporting justice, equity, and compassion in every action. So as we celebrate Diwali, let us remember that the threshold light is not only a symbol, but a call to action. It invites us to let the light within us shine outward, to see the divine light in every being, and to engage the world with compassion and justice. In this way, we honor both Diwali and Bandi Chor Divas, standing at the threshold, open to the world, where our inner light shines out into the world. May we celebrate this festival by lighting our lamps with purpose, allowing their glow to guide us into the world with love, courage, and an unwavering commitment to make that light shine brighter for all people. Happy Diwali.
Awesome. Thank you, Reverend Abhi. Beautiful reflection. Really appreciate that, Reverend Abhi. And again, prayers for him as he recovers from his sickness and gets some rest. I think Diwali is actually next week, right, Shelley? So he's going to have some busy times ahead, but hope he can be ready for that. Okay, and now I'd like to pass it back, I guess, to you, Shelley, for sort of closing reflection, and then we have some more stuff. But I'm gonna give it to you, and then just let me know when you want me to put up these slides. I'll have those ready.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to share that I've always found it, or as I started to kind of go back through the stories and prayers and things that I was raised with, I find it pretty inspiring to see how the images and how the stories of these gods and goddesses and these deities evolves with the conditions people are facing. So I wanted to share a little bit of that before then kind of sharing this prayer for Lakshmi that is born out of this work and this movement that we're building together. So if you do have the slides up, I can share some of what we found. And I think it's this project of kind of again kind of confronting Hindu nationalism. I think in some ways it has many different pieces to it. One is asserting that some of these representations of the divine are our own, and we can choose to interpret them as well. We don't always have to accept the interpretations that are given to us. And in fact, maybe our interpretations are closer to their origins. And so these are just a few images of different goddesses, some of whom we've already heard about, Durga, Lakshmi, that I wanted to share, all of whom are kind of related in the compendium of the divine cosmology of this faith tradition. But the one on the left is the goddess Kali, who this is actually a drawing from welfare rights women that I found some years ago. And the goddess Kali is often known as the goddess of destruction, but she's, the destruction is to create the world that we in fact deserve. She's destroying oppression. She's destroying those forces of injustice, and in their place, she is creating the world we know is possible and the world we actually deserve. And so in this interpretation of Kali from poor and low income and women who are welfare recipients and domestic workers, you can see that what she holds in her hands to create the world that we deserve are things that, she holds a child, she holds a growing plant, she holds things that are cleaning, she holds a book, that it's through these systems of care that we are creating the world that we deserve. So I always found that image really powerful and moving. This one next to it is an image of the goddess Durga. Again, many of these goddesses have multiple hands because women do a lot. No, it's because there are many things that they are carrying forward into the world that we're creating together. So this is an image of the goddess Durga as a migrant woman. This was from a few years ago when the crisis of migration was really escalated around the world. And so this was Durga as a migrant woman carrying her children to the world that they are deserving of. And so the next slide shows two more of these images. The one on the left is an image of these, they're called contagion goddesses, that you'll see in villages all across India that are there to protect. They're often at the front of the villages, often there to protect the inhabitants of those villages from various plagues, or they're and they can try to protect those inhabitants from various different injustices, various different plagues. And so this image emerged during the pandemic, where the contagion goddesses was reinterpreted as providing all these other forms of health in that time. And then finally on the right we have Lakshmi, again, who is born in kind of these swampy waters, standing on this lotus, and her four hands are supposed to represent health and wealth, not just material wealth, but kind of abundant wealth and life and love and freedom. And so in this spirit of reclaiming these goddesses, reclaiming the representation for our movement, I wanted to offer this prayer for the goddess Lakshmi. So this is a prayer for Diwali, and it begins, Om Jai Lakshmi, goddess born from the struggle between good and evil, guide us toward the light. In a world where plenty is possible, let us end hunger, thirst, and homelessness. In your nurturing hands, let us seek refuge from want, fear, war, and violence. And with your grace, let our world be reborn in your image, where all needs are met, where morality and love are abundant, and whereby we are free. Om Jai Lakshmi, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.
Beautiful. Peace. Thank you so much, Shelley. So just such a powerful thing to see Lakshmi represented that way, and just to know that leaders like yourself and Anu and Abi are helping us, and so many others out there that are able to see the gods in the struggle like this, are helping us to reclaim the beauty and power of our spiritual traditions. It's really grateful for you all. And yeah, so we're actually at the time of our traditional Freedom Church of the Poor service, which I guess is the Freedom Temple of the Poor tonight, and where we do a prayer for. We just did a prayer, but we're going to do another prayer, kind of prayer for the people, something that Reverend Abi offered us. So I'm going to pull that up, but just to say, yeah, we as usual, if there are prayers from the community, please add those, and we will be sure to lift them up throughout the week. And yes, but or tonight, if you have some in the chat, we'll continue to lift those up. But let me first share this from Reverend Abi, and then we'll go from there. Oh, yes, and here's a very sweet picture of our three leaders.
Would you join me in the spirit of prayer and reflection? Nameless one of many names and beyond all naming, spirit of life and love that will not let us go, let us down, or let us off the hook. On this day of Diwali and Bandi Chor Divas, we carry the light, strength, and resolve of these sacred obligations. May we walk with justice, liberation, and compassion in all we do. Grounded in the Sikh tradition, we remember Nanak Naam Chardi Kala, Tere Bane Sarbat Da Bala. Through your name, may we rise in high spirits, and may the well-being of all be ensured in your will. May we rise together in courage and with purpose, committed to the flourishing of all beings. And in unity, we offer a Shanti mantra from the Katha Upanishad. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinamaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we work together with great energy. May our journey be luminous, and may there be no animosity or hostility among us. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace, peace, perfect peace. May it be so.
Amen to that. May there be peace. Oh shoot, did that? Okay. Doesn't look like we have any prayers in the chat, but if folks do have those, remember to send them along, and we'll be lifting them up. But just a prayer to our community of gratitude and thanks for the leadership and spirit and love that they brought tonight. The three of you, Shally and Anu and Reverend Abi, and for this whole community that is gathering every week. I give thanks and lots of love to you all, and to all our brothers and sisters out there suffering. May they know that there is light, and that there is the struggle of the poor brewing from below always. Okay, so it is time for, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, prayers for Freedom Church of the Poor. Amen. For our call to action, we just have a few things tonight. We are closing in on the end of Jubilee. The season of Jubilee has been very long. Started sometime after Lent, and it's been amazing. So rich and diverse a season for us. But we're getting into a pretty heavy time of the year for Christians, the Advent season, and then right after that, Epiphany. Before that, we will have a really powerful service next week. I don't know if Arelis, if you're available to say a word about Dia de los Muertos, but folks from La Iglesia del Pueblo and from Kairos and from all over are going to be. Well, you say what y'all doing. It's really amazing what y'all are pulling together. But
Yes, good evening. Well, this year we are going to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Standing first on Friday, we're going to prepare our altar. The community will be invited to bring pictures and the loved one and that's going to be in Trinity Lutheran Church, located in 100th Street between Amsterdam and Columbus. The community is invited. They're going to be open on Saturday, and then the service will be Sunday at 6 o'clock in person at Trinity Lutheran Church. So I hope you can just join us, be in community and in solidarity this year especially with the immigrant community that is among us. So we're going to have, it's going to be bilingual, and we're going to have the community bringing preparing the altar during these 2 days. So, and also preparing food. So we're going to have a community meal on Sunday.
Awesome.
Come.
Yes, please. If you're in New York, come reach out if you want more details. Everyone is welcome. And then, yeah, we'll be online too, I'm assuming. Okay, so
Yes.
and then bring people together online and share food and create your own altar. That's a
prepare your altar. Yes.
Yeah. And really just such an important
The recording
tradition
has stopped.
to remember those who've passed and who continue to inspire us and love us and hold us. So thank you, Aurelis. And that'll be November 3rd, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then big day that week, obviously, there's an election. We're all kind of anticipating that and various levels of fear and anxiety and hope and whatever else. But after that, this Sunday after that, we have a great service coming together with some leaders from a Bible study that has been going on for the last 10 weeks around these verses from Samuel and Kings about kingship, about how the early Israelite community continued to struggle to figure out how they were going to be led and how they were going to order their society, and how God kept saying, "You don't want a king," and they're like, "We want a king." But anyway, a very timely study for us as a nation, as think about how where we're going and how what leads the way for us. So a lot of folks are going to come to reflect on that, as well as some people that are involved in some election sabotage response, some faith leaders. So it'll be a great time, I think, just to be together and process whatever comes of Tuesday. So, and then after that, we start the season we like to call Advent of a Revolution, and there's just a lot of stuff that is coming together for that. We have a handful of partners that's growing that are going to be sponsoring this season. So it's a big network of people that are coming together. We have some Bible studies that are a little more structured along the Advent lectionary. So some of those texts, and just again reminding folks, this is the time of year when religion is maybe the most, I think even more than Easter, is in people's consciousness, and this story of the birth of hope and the longest night. And it's just a really vital time to engage in this battle for the Bible, and for us to come together as a community and reclaim some of that in the way that Shelley and others did tonight. So really looking forward to that. But that's kind of all there is for calls to action. Of course, every week Bible studies at Wednesdays at 6 and Eastern, and then we're back here on Sunday at 6 Eastern. Anything else from the community that you all want to announce? Okay. Well, grateful for you all, and we have another closing song, or a closing song from Anu to take us out, and I will cue that up. Yeah. This one's called "We Belong Together."
Thank you for being together. This is a song I wrote out of the We Cry Justice Movement Arts Collective. There was a series of workshops that Cairo Center had, bringing a bunch of us artists and cultural workers together online across the country to study excerpts of the book We Cry Justice, and liberation theology, revolutionary love within
spiritual religious traditions. And it's also inspired by when I was homeless and how the love of my community and my movement lifted me up. Love is an action, a place to sleep. Love is to rise up, standing with me. Love is together, righting the wrong, knowing there's a place that you always belong. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. Out of the mud, the lotus blooms, hearts wide open with the truth. Seeking justice, seeking peace, linking arms, we're gonna get free. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. We belong, we belong, we belong, we belong together. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Anu. Thank you all. Much love. Om Shanti Shanti. Shanti.
Thank you.